All right. So physics, that physics which we study in school level. Now that the physics can be mainly divided into two parts. One is classical and other is modern. There are several classifications you can make under the heading of physics, but the two main are classical and modern. Means physics can be divided into two parts. This classical means the older part, that most of the work which was done earlier than the you can say the 18th century is considered as the classical physics, and most of the work during that period was done on mechanics. Mechanics means the study of motion. Mechanics, then your thermodynamics. Thermodynamics means related to heat, and electricity. These are the classical branches of physics. Classical means from a very old time we are working on these branches. Okay, so these particular branches are considered as the part of the classical physics. Now in modern physics, that on which actually the work started during the 1900s, in the years of 1900, that the 20th century, about the study of atomic and subatomic particles, which we also called as quantum physics. Quantum physics. So particularly we discuss about the quantum physics in modern physics. Okay. So now how your syllabus is designed, class 11th and 12th. Just a second. Okay. Yes. How the syllabus is designed, you have 4 books in total. 2 in 11th and 2 books in 12th. It is like this. So you have 2 books to study in, I'm talking about the NCERT books. That NCERT book, how your syllabus is designed, that I am talking about. So you have 2 books in class 11th and 2 books in class 12th. Now your class 11th first book, your class 11th first book is related to your mechanics. Mechanics means your study of motion. It is about the motion, reason of motion, all these things here, like force, work, energy, power, all these things. So your class 11th first book is completely sticking to this part, mechanics. And second book is about the thermodynamics. Thermodynamics and waves. So these 2 parts of classical physics, they are included in your class 11th syllabus. One book for one part and other book for majorly for the other part. Now in class 12th, the class 12th, your first book is about the electromagnetism. Means the third part which I discussed for classical physics, that is your class 12th first book. And your second book is about the modern physics. Modern physics, which deals about the wave nature, the ray nature, and atoms, nuclei, dual nature of particle. Okay. And all these things means about the topics which are new to the syllabus, which are new to the physics subject. So that part is discussed in your second book, modern physics. So this is about your that total overall syllabus. Now I will discuss with you the blueprint of class 11th physics, how the blueprint is there. Now for class 11th, as you know that there will be 70 marks will be for theory and 30 marks will be for practicals. This is your 100 marks in physics, and same pattern will be there for class 12th also. Now in your class 11th physics, your first chapter is physical world and measurement. Physical world and measurement, in which we will be discussing about the various methods of measurement. What are physical quantities? Means the quantities which can be measured. Those are called as the physical quantities, which can be measured, which are visible from, which are physically visible, which you can see and measure. They are called as the physical quantities. And that, what are those physical quantities and how we measure them? What is the method of measurement? What are the different units of measurement? That is your chapter number 1. Then your chapter number 2 is your motion in straight line. Actually, in particular, if I should say, it is your chapter number 2 in your NCERT book. This is chapter number 3, and there is a small chapter number 1, that is, what is physics? It is like this. What is physics? Chapter number 1 is what is physics, in which there is a small discussion over the importance of physics in our daily life, like in the field of engineering, in the field of medical. What is the importance of physics for the society? Different such type of small topics have been discussed in that chapter number 1. Then chapter number 2, which I told you just now. Chapter number 3 is, we will start the motion here, motion in straight line. And then chapter number 4, motion in plane. That is your chapter number 4. These two chapters, they are collectively called as kinematics. They are collectively called as kinematics. Kinematics means a study of motion without studying the reason of motion. And the reason of motion is force. So without studying the reason of motion, we will discuss only about the properties of motion. That is your kinematics. Now your all these chapters 1, 2, 3, 4, they are of 23 marks in your syllabus. Now after that, we have chapter number 5, laws of motion. Chapter number 6, work, energy and power. Laws of motion, this is the part of dynamics. This is your dynamics. Dynamics means here you will study about the motion as well as the reason of motion also. So this is your dynamics, laws of motion, then work, energy and power. Then there is a chapter, system of particles and rotational motion, which we also call as rotational dynamics. Rotational dynamics. And then we have a chapter number 8, that is gravitation. This is your chapter number 8, gravitation. And these chapters 6, 5, 6, 7, 8, they are of 17 marks. So this is your first book and it is of 40 marks now. Your first book has a weightage of 40 marks. Okay. Then we have chapter number 9, mechanical properties of solids. Mechanical properties of solids, in which we will discuss basically about the elasticity of a material. There is a property called as elasticity that we will discuss in that chapter. Then we have chapter number 10, and that is your mechanical properties of fluids. Mechanical properties of fluids. Fluids means gases plus liquids. The combined term for the combined group or the combined group of gases as well as liquids is called as the fluids. Fluid is anything which can move, which can flow. So that about the fluids, the mechanical properties of fluids like the surface tension and like the viscosity, all these things we will discuss in this chapter. Chapter number 11 is your thermal properties of matter. Thermal properties of matter, about the temperature, basically about the temperature. Thermal properties means the properties related to heat and their measurement, the quantity with which or the indicator that measures the quantity of heat in a body is called as temperature. So about the temperature and heat, this chapter discuss about that particularly. Then we have chapter number 12, thermodynamics. Thermodynamics, thermo means heat and dynamics means how it moves, how the heat flows, how the exchange of heat takes place. Means if heat will be there, then it have some energy, how that energy can be utilized for doing some work, that is your thermodynamics. Then we have next chapter, kinetic theory of gases, chapter number 13. Chapter number 13, kinetic theory of gases. Here you will discuss about the kinetic theory. There is a particular theory. I will not go to the depth of that. There is a particular theory that the kinetic energy that gases particularly, they have their molecules are always in the random motion. So they have some kinetic energy, and about that, this is the kinetic theory of gases. Now all these chapters 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, they are of 20 marks. So now it becomes 40 plus 20, 60. Okay. Now finally you have a chapter number 14, oscillations. And you must be knowing about oscillations, the to and fro motion, like a simple pendulum. So this type of motion, we will discuss their properties, what is their particular quantities related with those, how you will measure the velocity, how you will measure the acceleration, all these things will be discussed here. And the last chapter is waves. There is a chapter, waves. A single particle oscillates when a large number of particles oscillate in a proper way, in a harmonic way. Then that combined oscillation constitute a wave, and we have some properties for waves also. So this is your part for 10 marks, and now it becomes total 10, it becomes 70 marks. So this is all about the syllabus of class 11th. Okay, now here I want to be very particular about this thing, that as per the examination point of view, and as per the point of view of, if you consider the importance of the chapters related for the board exam of class 12th, from the board exam of class 12th point of view, if you think that if you want to know that which chapters are very much important, so they are your chapter number 1 to 8, means the complete first book, mechanics is very important, and the last two chapters 14 and 15. These chapters 1 to 8 and 14 and 15 chapters, they are very much important if from the point of view of class 12th board exam. Means to understand the chapters or the syllabus of class 12, you must know these chapters very clearly. Okay, so now today we are going to start the syllabus of class 11th. Now before starting the syllabus, I want to tell you that physics has an involvement of mathematics up to a large extent. There is a lot of involvement of mathematics in physics. So before starting our syllabus, we will take 1 or 2 days or maybe 3 days to understand few topics of mathematics which will be required further when we will go for the syllabus. So today I am starting with the mathematical tools. I will call this as mathematical tools. Okay, the mathematical tools which we need. So in these tools we will discuss about algebra little bit, then we will discuss about the you can say the trigonometry, your algebra, trigonometry, your coordinate geometry, then we will discuss about the logarithms, then your differentiation and integration. We will discuss about all these topics one by one, and then we can, after completing these topics, then we can start for the syllabus. Okay, so today I am starting with a little bit from the algebra part. You must be knowing about the quadratic equations. So just a small review. Now suppose if you have ax square plus bx plus c equals to 0 as a quadratic equation, then the method to solve the value of x is minus b plus minus under root b square minus 4ac upon 2a. Am I right? So this is your formula to find out the value of the variable from the quadratic equation. This part you must be knowing because it was in your class 10 and recently you have gone through this topic. Now the important thing which I am discussing here in algebra part is a topic which is new to you, and that is binomial theorem. This is binomial theorem. Now what is binomial theorem? Before starting that, let me ask you one thing. Suppose you know that how much is a plus b whole square. You have a formula for a plus b whole square. It is a square plus b square plus 2ab. You must be knowing that what is a plus b whole cube. It is a cube plus b cube plus 3a square b plus 3ab square. Now if I ask you how much is a plus b raised to the power 4, or if I ask you how much is a plus b raised to the power 10, or if I ask you a plus b raised to the power 100, then it becomes difficult to find out. For you it will be difficult because you are unknown to this binomial theorem. So binomial means bi means two, nomial means terms. So you have two terms and there is a theorem for the expansion of a binomial term raised to some exponent. A binomial term raised to some exponent, to get the value of that you have a binomial theorem. Okay, so now let me discuss that what is binomial theorem. Okay, first of all I will write the simple expansion, that what is binomial theorem. Now if suppose you have a plus b raised to the power n, a plus b raised to the power n, then it will be n c0 a raised to the power n b raised to the power 0 plus I will tell you all these things. What is NC0? What are these things? I will discuss after that. First of all, let me write the expression. NC0 a raised power n b raised power 0. Then NC1 a raised to the power n minus 1 b raised to the power 1. Then NC2 a raised to the power n minus 2 b raised to the power 2. NC3 a raised to the power n minus 3 b raised to the power 3, plus so on it will go. The second last term will be NCn minus 1 a raised to the power 1 b raised to the power n minus 1, and the last term will be NCn a raised to the power 0 b raised to the power n. What the formula is? NC0, see, NC0, NC1, NC2, NC3. Similarly, it will go on increasing. Second last will be NCn minus 1 and last will be NCn. Okay. Then you have the first term of the binomial. The first term, its power will start from n, the highest value, and will decrease up to the 0, up to the value of 0. So a raised to the power n, next a raised power n minus 1, 1 decreased, then n minus 2, 1 decreased from here, then n minus 3, and similarly the second last term will have a raised to the power 1 and last term will have a raised to the power 0. For the second term of the binomial, the power will increase, will be, means just opposite to the power of a, the power of b will increase from 0 to n. 0, 1, 2, 3, the second last will be n minus 1 and last will be n. So the method is, you write NC0, NC1, NC2, NC3, then NCn minus 1, then NCn. Power of a is the first term. The first term's power will decrease from n to 0 and the second term's power will increase from 0 to n. This is the method to write it. Now I will discuss with you that what is this? What is this NC0, NC1, NC2? This C is a symbol for a particular, means you can say a mathematical operation which is called as a combination. It is called as combination. Combination is used, suppose if I give you a condition that there are 10 people available, you have 10 people and you want to select suppose one chairman and one your vice chairman. From 10 people you want to select one chairman and one vice chairman, means you want to select two people. You want to select two people. Then in how many ways you can select the chairman and the vice chairman? Means your first person can be the chairman, and second, with first person as chairman, the second person can be vice chairman, the third person can be vice chairman, the fourth person can be vice chairman. So there is one combination is this, other combination is this, other combination is this, and so on. So there will be a large number of combinations for keeping one as chairman. Then keeping two as chairman, you can have different combinations. Similarly, with 3 as chairman, you can have different combinations. So what is the total number of combination? 10 people are available and you want to select 2 at a time. So this is called as combination. Now how we obtain the value of this combination, that I will tell you. Okay. Suppose you have n terms available. Like in the example, you had 10 people available and you want to select R at a time. You want to select R. Like in the example, it was 2. 2 people you wanted to select at a time. So n people are available. You want to select n terms, n objects are available. Objects, I will say, generally I will say like objects. N objects are available and you want to select R number of objects at a time, then it will be equal to NCR. Number of combinations of n taking R at a time. It will be spelled out like this. This symbol will be spelled out in this way. Total number of combinations of n taking r at a time is equal to n factorial upon r factorial into n minus r factorial. So now again we have a new term which is called as factorial. So factorial means, what is now factorial? Okay. Factorial, n factorial is n into n minus 1 into n minus 2 and so on up to 1. Means you will go on decreasing the value by 1 and just continue to multiply them. Okay, like suppose 5 factorial is 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. Like suppose 3 factorial is 3 into 2 into 1. Means 5 factorial means you start from 5, go on decreasing the number up to 1 and multiply all of them. 3 factorial start from 3, go on decreasing and multiply them until till the time you reach to 1. You go on multiplying them. So this is your n factorial, this is r factorial, this is n minus r factorial. So let us solve that condition which I discussed earlier. Let us solve that condition with this formula. So it was 10C2. 10 people were available and you wanted to select 2 at a time. So it is 10C2. This will be 10 factorial upon 2 factorial into 10 minus 2 factorial. Okay. So it will be how much? 10 into 9 into 8 factorial. I will write like this. 2 factorial into 10 minus 2 will be 8 factorial. That's why I have not multiplied up to 1, because 8 factorial and 8 factorial will get cancelled. And this will be 10 into 9 upon 2. 2, 5 and 5 nines are 45. So in 45 different ways you can select a chairman, a group of a chairman and a vice chairman. This is your answer in 45 different ways. So this is called as combination. So I think now you are clear about the terms factorial, combination and the binomial theorem. Now I will give you an example. Now let us suppose that we want to find out 1 plus x raised to the power 4. Suppose we want to expand 1 plus x raised to the power 4. So the formula will be 4c0 1 raised to the power 4 x raised to the power 0 plus 4c1 1 raised to the power 3 x raised to the power 1 plus 4c2 1 raised to the power 2 x raised to the power 2 plus 4c3 1 raised to the power 1 x raised to the power 3 plus 4c4 1 raised to the power 0 x raised to the power 4. 4c0 4c1. Yes, there is someone who is just disturbing the things. I request you all, please don't mute me. Don't don't disturb the class. Whosoever is there, unmute me. Why you have muted me? This is again a request. Don't disturb the class. Whosoever is there. You just try to listen to me. It is very important. If you suppose you are going to the class, I am not going to repeat it again. And this is of immense importance. Now I expect after this that nobody will touch this, will change the settings. This is for your benefit only. I will give you the time. You can ask the questions Now am I audible? Yes. So this is again my request to you that don't hamper the class, okay? Don't disturb the class. Whosoever is there, don't try to play these things, no? Okay? I want to know that where I was muted, which point? Do I need to start from here, or previously it was muted earlier also? Yes? Here only, on this part only. Okay, now listen. This is an example. Okay, I'm discussing about an example. Like this is an example for application, means how to apply the binomial theorem. Yes, now mute yourself. Don't mute me, mute yourself. Okay, now listen. 1 plus x raised to the power 4. Suppose you want to raise this binomial term to the power 4, then we will write that formula only: 4c0, 4c1, 4c2, 4c3 and 4c4. Then the power of first term will decrease from the value of n, means from 4 to 0. 1 raised to the power 4, 1 raised to the power 3, 1 square, 1 raised to the power 1, 1 raised to the power 0. And the power of second term will increase from 0 to 4. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So now we will find out the value. 4c0 will be equal to 4 factorial upon 0 factorial into 4 minus 0 factorial. This will be 4 factorial upon 0 factorial into 4 factorial. They will cancel and you will get 1. Now I want to give you few shortcut formulas. I will give you some shortcut formulas for combination. Now you remember that first thing is 0 factorial and 1 factorial. They both are equal and they are equal to 1. 0 factorial, 1 factorial, they both are 1 only. Okay. Now suppose you have NC0. NC0 is equal to NCN is equal to 1. Always remember that NC0, like 4C0 or 4C4, they both will be equal to 1. You can check it yourself. N factorial upon 0 factorial n minus 0 factorial. This n minus 0 factorial will become n factorial. They both will cancel and you will get 1 upon 0 factorial, that is 1. And similarly you can solve yourself NCN. It will be n factorial upon n factorial upon into n minus n factorial. Both will get cancelled. 1 upon n minus n is 0 factorial equals to 1. So either you have, suppose you have whatever here, either you have this term as 0 or this is equal to n. R is equal to n or R is equal to 0. In both the cases your value of the combination term will be 1. Okay, this can be taken as a shortcut formula. Now again, another formula is NC1 is equal to NCN minus 1 is equal to n. The value of NC1 and NCN minus 1 means 4C1 and 4C3. 4C1, NC1 or 4C3. The 3 you can get by 4 minus 1 means NCN minus 1. They both of them will have a value equal to n. Means here this value will be 4, this value will be 4. Example, you can solve it. N factorial upon 1 factorial into n minus 1 factorial. This is n into n minus 1 factorial. N into n minus 1 factorial. And 1 factorial is 1, n minus 1 factorial upon 1. They both will cancel, n upon 1 equals to n. Okay. Now next is, suppose I want to get this value, NCN minus 1. This will be n factorial upon n minus 1 factorial into n minus 1 factorial. This should be in bracket. N factorial upon r factorial into n minus r factorial. So this will be, you can write n into n minus 1 factorial, and it is n minus 1 factorial, and this n and minus n will cancel, minus 1 factorial. Cancelled, n upon 1 equals to n. So you have nc1 equals to ncn minus 1 equals to n. Now and one more formula, NCR is equal to NCn minus R. They both will be equal. They don't have a particular value, but NCR and NCn minus R, they have equal, same value. Okay, these are three, you can take them as few formulas, so that it is not required every time to solve the combination term. You can directly write. So this term will be 1 into 1 raised to the power 4 is 1, x raised to the power 0, anything power 0 is 1, plus 4c1, this is 4, nc1 is n, so 4c1 is 4, 1 raised to the power 3 is 1, and x raised to the power 1 is x, plus 4c2. Now let us find out 4 factorial upon 2 factorial into 4 minus 2, 2 factorial. So this will be 4 into 3 into 2 factorial upon 2 into 1 into 2 factorial. Cancelled, 2 2s are 4, 3 2s are 6. So you get this value equal to 6. So 4c2 is 6, 1 square is 1, and x square you have. Then 4c3 is again 4, nc n minus nc ncn minus 1, sorry, ncn minus 1 is n itself, into 1 into x cube, plus 4c4 is 1 into 1 raised to the power 0 is 1 into x raised to the power 4. So this is 1 into 1 into 1. This is 1 plus 4x plus 6x square plus 4x cube plus x raised to the power 4. This is your expansion for 1 plus x raised to the power 4. Okay. So this is your binomial theorem. Now its application is highly useful for the study of physics, particularly in 11th, 12th. There will be a lot of application of this theorem. Now we will discuss about a special case. Okay. Suppose if you take the expansion of 1 raised to the power 1 plus x raised to the power n, then you will get the expansion binomially. When you will expand it, you will get 1 plus nx. You can do it yourself. You can take this as your homework. 1, when you will expand it binomially, it will be 1 plus nx. Plus it will be n into n minus 1 upon 2 factorial into your x square plus n into n minus 1 into n minus 2 upon 3 factorial into x cube, and so on. You will get the terms like this. If the value of x is very small, then these terms with the power raised to the power 2, 3 or higher powers, they all will be very small. I will give you an example. Suppose we have 2 raised to the power 2 equals to 4. But what about 0.2 raised to the power 2? It will be 0.04. Means a number greater than 1 when it is raised to some power. A number greater than 1 when it is raised to some power, its value increases. You can see that 4 is more than 2. This 4 is more than this 2. A number greater than 1 when its power is raised when it is raised to some power, its value increases. But for a number less than 1, when you raise that number to some power, its value becomes smaller. Here 0.04 is less than 0.2. So suppose if you have x very small, then this term with x square, this term will be very small, too much small, and this term will be even smaller, will be even smaller than that, and the higher powers will be smaller than these terms. Okay, so it means that you can neglect this term, you can neglect this term and all the higher powers. So if this condition is there, then 1 plus x raised to the power n can be taken as 1 plus nx, only this much. And this thing we will do several times while doing the syllabus of class 11th. Okay.